Okay, lost media and like archiving stuff is kind of gay. It's kind of gay, cause like people are complaining about like, well, this tranme with all my favorite underage girls is gonna be gone. It's like this. It's like fucking uh, robo rape madness. Like an obscure anime with a Vietnamese producer was made in the 70s, and like it's gonna disappear if we don't fucking archive this. And I'm like, I'm sure robo rape madness isn't like bad, like it's okay. I'm sure there's somebody out there who loves robo rape madness and is gonna be really glad that it's bad. But like, there's just so much shit that like we lost. Like, who cares about robo rape madness? Like, if we launched like Boku no Pico, like that'd be a travesty. That's history. But like, I mean, like, you know, like all those drawings I did in elementary school of me like beheading my teachers, like those are gone, and no one's complaining about that. No one's like, oh no, we need to preserve literally freaking everything, bro. Like, no, like, I mean, it's not like I wanted to go away, but it's not like a big deal. Like, it's not like a big deal. Like, there's just so much shit out there. Like, how can you expect to archive it? And like, I think there's a lot of it is that you know, like, we don't know what art is anymore. So like some people are like nothing's art, but a lot of people are like everything's freaking art. Like take a modern art, for example. Like, I kind of feel awkward in the debate because people like post like they'll like just throw paint against the canvas and then they'll smear it around, and I just feel so awkward because like you have one side are like, this isn't art, this fucking sucks, this is retarded, this isn't that, that's nothing compared to like fucking a Greek statue with a tiny penis. That has nothing to do. And other people are like, no, Greek statues with tiny penises, this is equal. These are the same thing. This is beautiful. This is innovative. And I'm just like, I'm kind of like in the middle where it's like, I think the Greek, like, making a Greek statue with a tiny penis, a beautiful twink with a tiny penis that turns me on. Like, look at that, that's hard. But this guy, I saw it. I could probably do that. Like, maybe this guy has a little method, like he does it he's a little more consistent. But it's not difficult to do that. But at the same time, I still kind of like looking at it. It's kind of cool, I guess. A little interesting. But there's nothing to contemplate. You can't really admire the guy's skill for making that. You can't say like the thing he made is cool, but he isn't cool for making it. I mean, maybe a little, but like he's not like he doesn't deserve. It's just disrespectful to the tiny Greek penis guy, like, to say that those people are equal, because I don't think they are, and that's what it's like. I really like I like saving pictures of anime girls. I think anime girls are really, really cute. I'm not even being ironic right now. I have like a couple gigabytes. I'm sure there's many people beyond that, but I save a lot of them. And I just like looking at them. I think they're cute. I like looking them up and finding more. And there's just some that are like these people are pretty talented. They're like really cute. I like looking at them. I like just kind of like just stare at them, But at the same time, like, that guy didn't learn. Like, the guy who drew like the little girl with a flat stomach and beautiful colors, like a beautiful pale girl with a flat stomach and beautiful colors and a beautiful environment, so cute. Like, that guy didn't learn it by locking himself in a room and like studying like anatomy or whatever. You know, he wasn't like getting beat by his professor because he drew an eye 1% smaller than the other eye. Like, no, the guy who drew the beautiful anime girl that I may or may not be jerking off to later, he learned that by just like doodling in fucking class instead of taking his algebra test. Like, bro, like it's cool, but like it's just disrespectful to the guy who got beat and assaulted by his professor. Like, it's it's just I just think that there needs to be, but I don't want to say that the guy who made the cute anime girl isn't like talented and that I don't like looking at the anime girl. I don't want to compare it to like something like real kitschy like just a AI hairy cow on the plains. Like, I don't want to compare it to that, but it's like something in the middle. It's like it looks really nice. Like, the guy who made it's pretty cool. I couldn't make that anime girl. I couldn't make either of those. But I couldn't make the anime girl. So there's something different from there's something that the anime girl and the tiny Greek penis have in common that sets it apart from me like drawing stick figures of like Nazis. Like, it's something different from me drawing a swastika 100 times in my notebook. Like, so there's something that sets it apart, but at the same time, they're different. And I think there needs to be something like in between, so we can just end this retarded debate of like what is art. Like, there needs to be something in between where it's like, it's not a graphic design, like, it's not a retarded little doodle. But it's also not a tiny Greek penis. It's not. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a tiny Greek penis. That's the problem with libtards, is that they think a lot of things have to be something. They have to be white. Like, they have to be white people shit. Like, they can't. That's why libtards are like, they're racist too. Like, libtards are the real racist. Like, they think racist too, because they think that like we gotta elevate, cave paintings to they think that shit needs to be elevated in the first place. Like, no, we can. The little drawing of a cow that doesn't look realistic and doesn't have much coloring, but like looks you might want, it might look nice on the wall in your house. Like a little conversation starter. But it's not the same thing as a tiny Greek penis. Like, it's not because tiny Greek penises look better. It's that like that's another thing, is that I prefer looking at like cool little Aztec art and little anime girls over boring paintings that have no color. Like, it's not exciting. I need color. I want everything white. I want to see her beautiful eyes. I don't want it to be dark and sad. Like, and so it just, we need to invent a term that's like in between, not art and art, so we can stop having this debate and we can just say like, hey, this looks cool. This isn't art, but it doesn't have to be. It's just cool, and we guess that's like, because language is a tool. People really don't understand that. That's another thing that I'm gonna try and keep focus on, or like just, I don't want to get in a tangent, but like I think a big issue right now is that a lot of our language, we are so language centric, and we're mistaking our tools for the things. We're mistaking our pictures of things to illustrate things and get things points across. We're mistaking them for the actual things when they're not. So we're talking about art, but really we're not talking about anything. We're just like trying to like communicate an idea. Like, this looks cool. So that's the problem, is that art both means something that looks cool and something that is cool, or something that took a lot of effort. You can look at it and think like, how much effort did this guy make to do this tiny Greek penis? How much detail. What can we think about how the artist was thinking when the artist made this tiny Greek penis? You know, it has to be both. Like, no, it can be cool. Some things look cool and have no thought into them, and some things have a lot of thought into them and look cool. You know, or I have a lot of thought of them and don't look cool. So we need to make a distinction so we can stop having this debate, and we can just, and that's just like, that's what I hate about modern art. You know, I mean, modern art is like that's like the early, like the 10s, 20s, 30s, 1930s, all that. That's this, what we're talking about is postmodern art, when we say modern art. But the problem with the taping the banana on the wall is that, I get what the point is, like, it's that we're asking what art is. That's the art. But at the same time, the problem is these people, it's kind of a catch-22 for them, because it's like, alright, my piece is questioning what can be art, right? And then I say, well, I'm going to answer that question, it's not art. And then you're like, well, no, it is art. And you're like, okay, well, why did you ask? Clearly, you already had the answer. You said that you think your little $500,000 banana on the wall is art. So, but now your point's deleted. Now your point's nulls, and the whole reason for it being art is gone. So now it's not art. Like, you stuck yourself. But they're also trying to get ours in a catch-22 situation too. In that, they just accuse us of not understanding it. Like, when they say, like, when we protest, like, or not, not like picket signs, but we say, like, this isn't art, and there's, a whole conversation about it. Like, well, you proved my point. I started the conversation. That's the art. And then if we don't protest, we're like, well, we're cool with it being in a museum. We're like, well, there we go. It's art. It's in a museum. I'm like, no, we can say, like, if it doesn't belong in a museum, and that it doesn't make it art. And the issue is that we've been asking this same bullshit question of what is art for 100 years. So, the first piece that, like, was really, like, revolutionary or abstract or whatever, like, the precursor to the banana was this guy. He was a modernist, and he just fucking put a toilet in the middle of the museum. And that's a little interesting, but only because no one had done that before. Okay, we've already put hundreds of toilets in the museum. We've already put hundreds of bananas on the wall, and we've already painted the same color, like just a solid color, a million times. So it's just, we clearly were nowhere closer to the answer. So, like, that's just the excuse to justify post facto to make lazy bullshit. Like, experimental is code word for lazy. Experimental is code word for shit. Experimental is code word for, I have, like, above average openness. I want to be seen as really creative. I want to be seen as different, but I don't actually want to put in the effort of being creative and creating things that are in my head. So I'm just gonna make something up on the spot and make that. That's gonna be, and now I'm gonna say it's art because it's different. Like, no, it's not. It's you're gay. You are a r/gifted kid. I'm smart but lazy. Like, like, you're just a faggot. And I think that we just need to be done with this whole question of what is art. and I guess I'll get into it now, is that language it is a tool. And people say that a lot, but they don't really understand what it means. Is that when we're talking about something, that is, the word red isn't the color red. Like, there are shades of there are different shades of red. So you might be thinking of a slightly different shade of red when I think of red. And it's not like pothead, like, what if your red is different from mine? It's just like a different shade. Yours might be closer to orange, just a little closer to the orange. Yours might be a little closer to, or mine might be a little closer to pink. That's what it means. And that goes into like academia and like an analysis, in that we are mistaking these terms that we have invented to communicate with each other, and we're taking them literally. They're no longer about just communicating to each other. They're about communicating to ourselves. We're like, no, we can. You can. A lot of people. I think a lot of people who claim they can't can. That's another thing. Like people who have an inner monologue, whatever. I think most people, like 99.9% of people, can just like think of something and don't have the word for it. Like you've always had, something's on the tip of your tongue. Like I know what it is. I just don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's like that. And so we're inventing new words to describe things. We're inventing like art, the word art, to describe like this tiny Greek penis, this old lady drinking soup in the dark. There's something about this. It's just like, this painting, this statue, there's something about this. They're just something I can't really describe. They're in the same category, alright? But that's all the word art is. Like, this stuff, it freaking vibes, man. And so when we describe things, but these are like analogies almost. Like, they're not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect analogy. And now we're debating over what is what. Like if we're ever, like, it should be like, if we're ever in a confusion of like, we should never debate words like what is what. Like, very rarely. Like, language, that's the real metaphor or like the real example I was looking for, is like language, right? In linguistics, is that we back in the early days of studying linguistics, there's another model that was considered describing how languages relate to each other, and that was like a I forget the term, but it was like a guy who was like, there's like certain like wells or gravitational centers of language. Everything gravitates towards a standard or whatever, right? But then that wasn't perfect, because there's some there might be some Dutch and English might have some very very close similarities. Like, we have one serious problem, like, right, and they might be more comprehensible, but a hillbilly, a fucking guy from Glasgow, like, Glasgow and English is more closely related to standard English than Dutch and English are related. So that's why we got linguistic families, because those Glasgow and English and standard London English has like a common ancestor. And then, so now we're debating over what languages are related, and like, maybe things aren't as simple as that. Like, oh, these people split off, they started speaking their own thing. Like, maybe these people never thought they split off. Maybe they took some influence, and that's something like Creoles. It's like, maybe they're part of like two language families, and maybe they're like part of like gravitational centers. So maybe, why can't we just use both tools for different contexts? In this context, we're in Indian languages, the two major families in India, the two big ones is Dravidian and I guess Indo-Aryan. I think it's Indo-Aryan. These but they have some influences from Sanskrit, all that, because and the Indo-European languages, those kind of became the elite languages. So I get it might be good to say that they're in a Sprachbund. That's a word I don't really see a lot used in linguistics when it really should. Like, we talk about the Balkan Sprachbund. Why do we fucking talk about the Balkan Sprachbund? Those languages those languages aren't that related. Like, they're not that in common. Like, they influence each other, but I think the influences are probably a lot greater for the so-called Altaic languages, because like that's when a lot of modern linguists it's like a thing. Altaic languages aren't really a thing, and yeah, probably not. I have no reason to doubt that. But they're clearly very, they have some similarities. So why don't we talk about, these are in a Sprachbund. These languages clearly have interacted with each other a lot. They're clearly not related, in the same way as, linguistic families, but they're clearly similar. They're clearly, they got the same ideas, So we need to be more comfortable using both tools. Because really, neither tool is perfect, and neither tool really perfectly describes reality. Like, languages don't fuck. Like, that's not possible. Languages do not be having sex and shit. Like, that's just a metaphor. It's not. Linguistic families aren't actually real. They're just descriptions of things that are real. So that's my thought. So that's just how I think. These tools are. We're mistaking the cave painting we're mistaking the painting of the cow for the cow. That's Platoism. It's an action in a way. I don't know if Plato was specifically talking about that. That's a whole other thing. But anyway, one last thing. I think dating as an idea is really retarded. Just go get married. Like, I see these people who talk about they're engaged for 5 years. Like, bitch, you haven't figured it out. Like, you're wasting both of y'all's time. Like, I hear some people talking about it online. Like, there's women who are reaching 35, and they're like, they break up with their boyfriend, and now they're lonely, and now they're old, so no one wants to fucking date them. And I'm like, man, just go marry that dude. Like, if you haven't, you should be like. I understand if you're high school. Like, if you start dating someone at 15, you don't have to marry them at 20, because 15-year-old you and 20-year-old you is probably very different. But if you you meet someone at 20 and you're 25, man. I think that's the one. You need to sit down and say to yourself, is this the one or is this not? Like, do I want to marry you? And if you don't want to marry, if you're hesitating to marry them at this point, you just stop. Quit wasting y'all's time. Just to break up. Like, you haven't figured it out in 5 years. You're never going to figure it out. So I mean, that's just, and I don't understand. I just don't want to date in general. I guess I guess that's just a normgoid thing. Is they see someone, I don't get it. They see someone, they're like, this person's attractive, I want to be with them. And I mean, I see people who I think are attractive. I've talked about bad bitches at work, but when I really think about dating them, I'm like, they're probably not that interesting, Well, I need to get to know somebody first. I want to be somebody's homeboy. I want them to be my homegirl first. I want to get to know them, because, hobbies and personality, those are more important to me. I don't want to date a normgrid. I want to get to know somebody, and then I'm gonna figure out like, I'm gonna marry them. Like, you know, I want to be with them forever. And if I see someone who is like, I'm on the fence about, like, I feel weird sometimes. Like, I don't really like that. I don't really. Oh, that's weird. Like, that's gonna make me mad. If you know, I think in the future, you know, that's gonna make me mad if we live together. You know, if they're like a heavy spender, that's gonna piss me off. Cause I'm frugal. It's gonna piss me off. That's gonna really rile me up if they buy Netflix instead of pirating. It's gonna grind my gears. So I'm just not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna say, like, you know what? I know this seems like a little thing now, but what if I found somebody who doesn't? You know, they're just like you, except they don't do DoorDash. They don't order DoorDash. I mean, that's not fair. Let's just get it over with. You know, there's a million other people, and a million people who don't do DoorDash. You know, don't order DoorDash. They don't eat out. Let's not waste each other's time. Let's just not. Let's just wait until we got the perfect person that we want to be with the rest of our lives, instead of wasting time and money. Like, wasting 5 years of your life cohabiting with somebody, and then, like, how do you figure that out afterwards? You break up, like, complicated. And you know, taking people. I don't get, like, first dates. Like, there's this one girl. She's my manager, and she's super stupid. And I'm not saying that because I hate women, which I do, but she's just like a genuinely like unintelligent person. And she's fat too. And she's always talking about fucking going on these dates with like new guys. And I don't think she's sleeping with them on the first date. I have no reason to believe that. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't, but it's not really important. I'm not gonna assume. I want to point that out, because the point is, why are you going on these first dates? What's the point? Like, you're not gonna get to know these people on the first date. Like, that is like an hour or two of eating and talking. And I'm like, you know, you really can't learn much about this person. You really can't. Other than the fact that they give you free food if you're a woman. That's another reason why I don't go. Like, I'm not doing dates, like dating. Like, I'll be like, you know, I like a cute girlfriend. I like that, you know, cuddle with her, be all nice and sweet. But that'd be nice. But like, I'm not gonna go on a date, you know, like finding a girlfriend. Because if you try and look for that, you're just gonna find the people who are also into that, and they're also not very committed, and you're just gonna end up finding somebody that's boring. You know, there's not a lot of entertaining people around, and that, you know, that's part of it. Is I want to be someone's friend first, because I want to be their friend for the rest of their life. Like, so I want someone who I know I will get along with, and then, you know, and then one day we're like, you know what? Kind of cute. I want to touch you. Let's just be together, you know. You know, and we don't have to get married immediately. Like, I want to freak out, but you know, you should be able to see it in like, oh dang, you should be able to be like, you know, I could marry you. I'm not, you know, things could change. I could, you know, I don't fully know you yet, but you know, if things go well. If I might marry you, you know, this could be possible, you know. But if you get with somebody and you're like, I don't know if they're marriage material, like, okay, then don't, you know, just quit wasting your time. Or you're taking them out and paying for their nails and shit, and like, I don't know why black people are weird. You're like, just taking them out to paying for their fucking dinner, like, why? Just have a kid, like, just if you want to pay for somebody's shit, just have a kid. Just, you know, just pay for somebody's welfare. Play the lottery and donate to the Department of Education. That's just stupid. That's so stupid. Dating. Just I hope one day, you know, I meet a girl who she's just chill. She's just chill. And I don't know. Dating's stupid. I don't want that. Alright, I'm gonna go bomb a synagogue.